Have you ever been looking at pictures or old footage from World War II and noticed how many German planes had those bright yellow noses, wingtips, and tails? It's a really striking look. At first, you might think it was just a flashy design choice, maybe a bit of flair for the pilots. Or perhaps it was a special marking, something reserved only for the most elite ace pilots, right? Well, the truth is actually a lot more practical and reveals a fascinating piece of wartime strategy. It's a story about survival, recognition, and the chaos of aerial combat. The mystery of these yellow markings really started to unfold during the summer of 1940, right in the middle of the Battle of Britain. RAF pilots, locked in these huge, intense dogfights over the English Channel and the skies of Great Britain, began reporting something new. They were seeing German fighters, like the Messerschmitt Bf 109, with these unmistakable bright yellow sections. This was a recent development. During earlier campaigns, like the invasion of France, this kind of paint job wasn't common at all. Understandably, the British pilots were a bit spooked. The immediate assumption for many was that this yellow paint must signify an elite squadron or a highly decorated ace pilot. It was a logical guess, a way to single out the best of the best. But as it turns out, that wasn't the real reason at all. So, who were the first ones to use it? Records show that some of the very first aircraft to sport these vibrant markings belonged to famous fighter wings like Jagdgeschwader 26, also known as JG-26, and JG-54. Initially, the application of the yellow paint was quite conservative. We're talking about small, specific areas. The rudder, maybe the very tips of the wings, and sometimes along the edges of the tail. It was subtle but noticeable. However, as the war progressed and the air battles grew larger and more chaotic, those small patches of yellow began to expand. Soon, it wasn't just a stripe on the tail. It was the entire nose or the engine cowling of the Bf 109, painted in that brilliant, unmissable shade of yellow. This evolution from small markings to large, bold panels wasn't just a stylistic change. It was a direct response to the needs of the pilots in the sky. This brings us to the real reason behind it all: identification. It sounds simple, but in the heat of battle, it was a genius solution to a life-or-death problem. Imagine being a pilot in the middle of a swirling dogfight, with dozens, sometimes hundreds, of planes twisting and turning in the sky. It's pure chaos. In that split-second environment, it was dangerously easy to mistake a friendly plane for an enemy, especially when flying over enemy territory. The bright yellow markings served as an instant visual password. They allowed German pilots to quickly and unmistakably recognize Tammende Janu, their comrades in the sky. This simple color coding dramatically reduced the risk of friendly fire incidents and massively improved coordination during large-scale aerial engagements. It was a visual cue that cut through the confusion of battle, helping pilots make faster, safer decisions. And this smart tactic didn't just stay with the fighters. As the war raged on, the practice of using yellow identification markings spread to other types of Luftwaffe aircraft. You could see it on the formidable Focke-Wulf FW-190 fighters and the infamous Ju-87 Stuka dive bombers. Even larger planes, like the Heinkel He-111 and Junkers Ju-88 bombers, started carrying similar markings. These were often applied as bands around the rear of the fuselage or on the underside of the wingtips. The logic was the same. Whether it was a fighter escorting a bomber or an anti-aircraft gunner on the ground, that flash of yellow meant friend. It became a universal symbol of identification across the German Air Force, a simple but highly effective tool in a complex and brutal war. So, the next time you see a documentary, a movie, or a model of a WWII German aircraft with a bright yellow nose, you'll know the real story. It wasn't just for show or to celebrate an ace. It was a clever, practical, and life-saving piece of military strategy, born from the chaos of the skies. A simple splash of color that helped pilots tell friend from foe in the blink of an eye. If you love uncovering these forgotten details and untold stories from history, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to turn on notifications so you never miss another deep dive into the past. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.